Historical Village has been in the works for many years, and we took the opportunity to set aside some of the bond money for some of the work out there, and also working with Kim, we're also going to look at some other funding options as well. But we wanted to go ahead and get started with the design and getting Historical Village up and going. Um, we put out an RFQ, and to our surprise, we got 12 applicants. We narrowed that down. We had a panel, Patty Carroll, Ben Knox, myself, and Keith Paisley. And we did our best to evaluate, narrowed it down. It was very difficult. Narrowed it down to 4. And then we interviewed the top 4, and Kimley Horn came out above all as our top pick to do the Historical Village Park project. What I asked them to do tonight is kind of give you an abbreviated version of their pitch to us that day during their interview. And tonight at the meeting, you'll have the opportunity to officially approve them as the design and engineering / architecture / help us to get this project done firm. And then hopefully we will, if that goes well, then we'll be getting a scope of work and contract and maybe phasing, maybe, whatever the plan is to get going on this project. But we're excited to be working with Kimley Horn, and they just hope you see the value in this firm as we did. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're good. Hi, good evening, everyone. So my name's Annika Gilliam. I'm a landscape architect at Kimley Horn. I'm here to kind of give you a glimpse of the pitch, like Tom said, that we gave to them when we were shortlisted for the final 4 teams. We were really excited when we saw this RFQ come across. Thank you. Come across our desk, and we are excited about the project. We thought it looked like a great opportunity for the city as well, and we wanted to be a part of it. So we put our RFQ package together, and this presentation takes some of those pieces, and I'm going to go through the presentation and kind of skip through some of it. Like I said, it was sort of us pitching ourselves, why we are the best to the committee who interviewed us. And I'm going to go through some of those slides and then get really down to the meat of it and why we're all here, and that is Historic Village Park and our vision, what we envisioned for that, and how we would go about designing it for you all. So let's get started. So introductions, like I said, my name's Annika Gilliam. I am a landscape architect with Kimley Horn. I've been with Kimley Horn for 2 years. I've been working in Tennessee for 7 years. And I've worked in the greater Nashville area. I live out by Wilson County, so familiar with the area. And I have lived in Tennessee, Indiana, and Texas. So I've gotten to see a lot of different municipalities and different communities. Alicia Ely, so she is also a landscape architect in our Nashville office. I'm in our Nashville office as well. I'll let JR stand up real quick, introduce himself.
Hi, John Richard Patterson. I'm in our Franklin office, civil engineer.
And we've got Brandon Pretty was here with us to interview, but we do have Mike Hathaway as a representative from 906 Studio.
Mike Hathaway, I'm the owner of the company, and I don't look as good as Brandon, but I know that you guys will get great service from us, and we appreciate the opportunity.
So that's our team. Here's a kind of a look at our organizational chart of our team for this project specifically. So Alicia would be the main project manager. I would be the deputy project manager, so I would be the one kind of running this day to day. And we've got JR, our civil engineering services. We also have roadway engineers. We've got survey. We've got Mike and Brandon with the architectural services, MEP, and interior design as well. That's the team we put together for this project. And then I'll kind of go through some of these slides, but we are just giving an overview of Kimley Horn, our firm, and what we've done here in Tennessee. We've worked in a lot of different municipalities across the state. We have offices in Nashville and Franklin, and we've got a very diverse team. And it's not just park designers, but we're park users as well. So we've worked on a lot of different projects, and one thing that we think sets us apart from other groups is that, we're with you from day one, here at this meeting to the finish line. We're there at the ribbon cutting with you, and that's our favorite part of the process. We have extensive experience working in lots of municipalities, lots of project sizes and project types. So I'll click through here. So this is Historic Village Park. I'm going to go through, these were the main sort of points of the park that we saw, especially from your master plan that put together. So amphitheater, farmer's market, restroom facility, walking trails, parking, and then the historic structures to remain. These were the key components that we saw as needing to be a part of a future design of the park. And I'm going to kind of go through these, but we have broken those out into, these are some of our experience. So this is our program experience. So we've got experience in amphitheaters. That's going to be a big component of this park. So we've worked on one out in Murfreesboro at Blackman Park. I know this is a big park, but this is the amphitheater right here. So very large scale, part of a big development, but we've done one in Murfreesboro. We've also are doing one, this is in the concept stage right now, but this is in Nolensville for a new park, Sunset Park out there, where they had a lot of different components, and the amphitheater was part of that as well, right where my mouse is. And then this is from some of our team members out in Memphis, but this is Renaissance Park in Memphis, Tennessee, and they took this from concept to construction. You can kind of see this amphitheater that they built into this small neighborhood pocket park with some staging opportunities. So that was some of our amphitheater experience. So restrooms are also a program component of the future design of this park. So obviously we have 906 Studio here that can lend their architectural services to restroom buildings, but we've also used prefab restrooms in a lot of projects we've worked on, especially LPRF grant projects. And these are two projects that I'm currently working on, Jim Sharp Park in Cleveland, Tennessee, and out in Spring Hill, this is Walnut Street Skate Park. And these are fully customizable, so these are examples of what a prefab structure could be as another option for the restroom. And then we're getting into sort of our partnership with 906 Studio. So Harlansdale Farm in Franklin, Alicia Ely on our team worked with 906 Studio on this big renovation out there of the main barn and Hayes House. So I'll kind of go through these quick. There's the groundbreaking for Hayes House. The important part that we highlighted during our pitch is that Brandon and Alicia really were working hand in hand with the Friends of Franklin group there, and their historic group, in the renovation of both the barn and Hayes House. And that's what it looks like today. So that's some of our experience for historic parks. Some testimonial that we included as part of our pitch from City of Franklin, and sort of touching on our partnership with 906 Studio. And this is from the staff engineer and project manager there at City of Franklin. And then I'm going to go through some of 906 Studio slides, but this is the amenity structure. So one component of that amphitheater was possibly an open air stage and having some sort of architectural element in that. So I'll skip through some of these, but this is 906 Studios experience in building different structures. So we've got one out in Williamson County, Franklin Pavilion. They did some work out at South Hall Farms, out in Mount Juliet. And that just is touching again on their experience doing a lot of different type of architectural styles to really fit the site that they're on. But let's talk about Historic Village. So that's why we're here today. So let's get into what we envision and how we intend to move through this project. So our approach, so I kind of handed out this existing conditions, site opportunity and constraints map. So we've been to the site, we've walked the site, we've seen what the current state that it's in, and we have put together this, and we had submitted this as part of our RFQ where we saw opportunities for things and constraints as part of the site. So that's a key component of our process, is just getting out, seeing what we're working with, and seeing where we can get all of those pieces of programming that we just went through to fit in what we've got. So design advancement, we're basing a lot of this on the 2023 master plan that you all did, and it looks like you kind of got some feedback from that. So we want to take that and we want to move forward with it. And permitting, so we've got Fairview Boulevard there. There's been talk about, potentially rerouting roads. A lot of that we can handle in-house. We've got the experience and expertise to do that and help you all through the permitting process, especially with TDOT. We have experience with that. And bid assistance, we want this park to be built. That's the whole point at the end of this, is for you all to have a new park, so we will assist you in the bid process as well. So that's sort of the 4 phases of how we approach the project. And, proactive management, dedicated QA/QC, and like I said, we're here from, this meeting until we close out the project, have the ribbon cutting, and everybody gets to enjoy it. And I can let JR speak to this a little bit, but this is going back to the existing conditions and what we've taken a look at so far.
Hey, so I got to explain this as the boring part, but ultimately, again, just understanding what we were getting into as we, prepared this presentation. We reached out to the Water Authority to figure out what it looks like to add an amphitheater with restrooms. There's force main that wraps the site, and so obviously this area with the Water Authority, we talked to him about capacity a little bit. And then water out there. There's power lines that bisect the site, so we're going to end up having, for a successful amphitheater experience, you really want to relocate those to, along the perimeter of the site. And then I guess if you flip to the next one, stormwater components, there's that nice stormwater feature that exists on site, but it's really how do you not waste space with stormwater, but come up with creative solutions on how to incorporate it into the park. But also, you want to be very cognizant of the neighbors. Everything flows from this site into the neighbors' backyards. So just took a look at the maps that were out there to do our due diligence, and looking for creative ways to move forward with the project.
So sort of back to that existing conditions map that I handed out. So these are just some of the bullet points of the opportunities and constraints we saw. So opportunities, preserving the historic structures, number one, that's our priority here. For future programming, pedestrian, it would be great if we could get some sort of access point between the recreation complex and this park. I understand that it would be also, a constraint. Do we look at the constraint as an opportunity? Expanding existing parking lots. So we have been out to the site recently. It looks like there is a new parking lot. So that's one thing that we put as an opportunity, and one thing that you'll see actually in the quick little sketch that we put for a future design. and utilizing the site's existing slope for the amphitheater. So that's a great opportunity, and something that we can use that's already on site. So some of the constraints, existing, you know what JR just mentioned, existing pole and overhead lines, existing water quality pond, and then obviously the TDOT permitting for any improvements along Fairview Boulevard right away, and needs of the low pressure sanitary system and coordination. So like I said, we've been out to the site, we've walked around it, and we kind of took the concept that a previous consultant had done as part of your 2023 master plan, and we took it out to the site and walked around with it and kind of did our own sketching. We saw areas that maybe could be looked at in a different way. So we included this as part of our presentations, like to say, you know, this is sort of how we would approach this area. And I'll kind of walk you all through it a little bit. And this goes back to some of the things that we've listed on the opportunities and constraints map, but this is the existing water quality pond. Obviously, all the slope on the site is going this way. It's going straight down to this water quality pond. You know, that property line it's pretty tight right there with the neighbors. So there would definitely need to be some sort of buffering, especially if you're gonna have noise, you know, coming from an open air stage, amphitheater. Expanding the parking, like I said, that seems like it's already happening on site, so our plan is already in place. Over here by the Triangle School, preserving the historic village area. And then the original concept from the master plan sort of had the amphitheater sitting right in here, and while we were out on site, you know, that really was almost at the front door of the Triangle School. So just high-level concept, we've pushed it into this corner. We've got the stage here, and then everything would be amplifying out this way. And then, you know, looking at space for the farmer's market, flex space, restroom facility, parking off of Fairview Boulevard. We have kept that sort of rerouted road right here, and just looking at opportunities to come in off of Fairview Boulevard and traffic flow. So like I said, that's our high level take on a potential design for the park. So how we approach design, we go about it with 3 different principles. Inclusivity, you know, we want every single member of your community to be able to enjoy this park. So you know, ADA, that's going to be huge. We want to make sure that there are ADA routes all across this park and that they can access every program component that we've gone through. Beauty, you know, we don't want it to be beautiful just at the ribbon cutting ceremony. We want it to be beautiful years from now. And that kind of ties into sustainability. You know, sustainability doesn't always mean just materials. It could be sustainable for you all to maintain and continue to maintain, and keep it usable for your community years to come. So we went through a proposed project schedule, and this was taken from our original RFQ. You know, we're in July now, but this is sort of how we would think about going about the schedule for the project. Kickoff, site visit, conceptual design, and taking that into a schematic design. Obviously, these 2 phases would, you know, any public input that we would need to get, if we would need to get that, would impact sort of the schedule of those 2 phases of it. But then moving into design development, getting construction documents set, getting through permitting, and helping you all with the bid phase process. We'd love to have this done by the end of the year, because we'd love for you all to be able to look at grant opportunities if that's something you're interested in. You know, you have the 2023 master plan that opens you up to a lot of grant opportunities. And I've worked on 3 different LPRF grant projects, and those open up in January. So looking at potentially getting into those if that's something that the group is interested in. And then we just try to wrap this up. So, you know, why Tom should choose us. And that's sort of how we close out. You know, we're designing plans that meet your community needs. We have a very experienced, versatile team. We're quick and we're efficient. We want to pull the team together, get a completed design, get us through all the phases efficiently, cost effectively, and we want to develop a clear project scope as part of our commitment to those cost controlling strategies. That was it. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so very much. Gentlemen?
Once the bid phase is completed, the time frame that you gave us there, how long is the construction phase? I mean, I know someone else handling that, but do you guys have any anticipation for how long that might take?
It's a good question, and I know that during our interview, it was brought up potential for phasing, depending on funding, but that is something that we can help, anticipated costs as part of our scope is looking at costs so that when you get into construction, there, hopefully are no surprises
Yeah.
that would slow down that process.
So you mentioned phasing, so what would that look like if we were to do it? Like, how would you guys suggest breaking that project out into phases?
That's a great question. Seems like parking, we would definitely need to get parking. Does the amphitheater come in first? Do you guys really just need flex space for farmers market first? Obviously the historic structure's already there. That piece is already there. There's, now parking back here for that as well. The road, I think there's different components and we would work with you all to figure out what's the priority, what program do we want to offer to the public, the community first, and then work around that, and then see how we could build off of that to the park.
So from a design perspective, or I guess project perspective, it doesn't really matter what order necessarily it would go in. You guys
Yeah.
can make it work either way.
I think so, and it would depend on how you all feel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you would, go back over the grant process as far as the, like farmers market grants, et cetera, that type of thing. Did you say that usually opens up in January?
So the LPRF grants through TDEC, yes, the 2025 will open up in January, and they are due in May. And there's 2 phases to that, and they all have to be completed by May of 2025 to be eligible to be awarded the grant
Okay,
for that one specifically.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any additional? I am super excited to see this and know that we're in good hands with both groups and feel confident and love to see this place kind of come together and a vision come together. I think from a staff standpoint, I'll just come this way, of making sure that we're budgeted or grant applications and feel confident as we pursue it. Are we ready to take on the project? I think it's a smaller project. It'd be amazing if we could do it all at once if we can find the grants and the funding and things, but just making sure we're prepared once we go down that road to make it happen. Thank you guys for the presentation today.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a beautiful space, and kind of right as, I guess, our welcome to Fairview sign's right there. It's not technically where the Fairview city limits start, but it's kind of the introduction to the city, and having that right there is going to be pretty awesome.
It'll be pretty impactful, yeah, coming in.
One last question. Do we have any idea what the overall cost of what's proposed would be generally, even a ballpark figure? Or I guess, should I say, do we have a budget that we want to stay under for this project?
I've got a number I'm gonna stay under for sure, but a lot of it depends on the grants. It could probably, I'd say, depending on how technical. I mean, you could get as extravagant as you want to, but I think we're looking at, we want it to be beautiful. That's kind of the entrance to the west side of the town. We want, as you come in, and as people are doing their functions at the rec center, they want to be able to see what's going on at the park and maybe slide over there to the park and check it out, or just be very functional. And I think we could do that pretty economical. I've got with grants and all, I'm thinking we can put together a really nice park and then, I don't know. I hesitate to say, but.
I don't want to, I'm not quoting you on it. I was just
think-
curious
I think
if we
we-
had
I
an
think we could do
idea.
it affordable.
Yeah, just from, I'm sure as citizens see this and hear about it, they'll have questions. So I was just curious if we had an estimation for what that project would cost us. And I get it, we're in the very beginning of it, all that, but
Yeah, I would say, I don't have I've got a number in my head, but I don't know that it's realistic. So I would rather just wait and see to get a cost estimate. Probably be the best bet.
that's fair.
Let me ask this about the farmer's market. Would y'all design the actual pavilion yourselves?
The pavilion for the open air stage.
Right, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's where we've got our partner 906 Studio, and it's kind of showing some of their program experience with doing different structures to fit different site types. So that's where we would lean heavily on them to
So
sort of put together
We could
that.
take that design then and present that to, say, like the USDA for a farmer's market grant, possibly.
I guess if the intent is to use the open air stage as a farmer's market or component of it,
I think we would want a separate pavilion for that. You know,
separate
open-
pavilion?
Open air pavilion for that.
for the farmer's market,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, that's certainly something that we can, like I said, that 906 Studios really can handle in part of their scope as well as the open air stage, restroom. Yeah, these are all components that we brought them on to help us with.
Okay.
At one point in the past, we had maybe a accepted grant or an opportunity for a grant for like a farmer's market, open air, covered pavilion area. And so I think that's kind of where Mr. Hall's process or thought is. I don't want to speak for it, but it just,
Gotcha.
I remember hearing that discussion before. But I'm sure we'll go through a design and description process and review.
Yeah.
One other point I wanted to bring out, and I believe I was pretty adamant about this to Kimley Horn, but we went through a community outreach with our Parks Master Plan. We were thinking probably keep the reach out. I mean, we can do it however we want to. We can have as much community input as we want to, but seeing as we went through that whole community outreach with the whole park design master plan, we were thinking mainly target the Historical Village Association and make sure key players were involved in input on that, and then if any we can advertise and have anybody want to come in and give input, they can. We kind of already did that with the master plan, but we can do one or we're flexible. A lot of this stuff is as we get in, we'll decide what is needed, what's the best route.
No, I agree. I think our Parks Master Plan meetings sometimes had less than 10 people. But I definitely think at least have one open public meeting to say the opportunity was there and give feedback. Anything further? Any additional questions? Anybody out there have any questions? Ms. Trolley, yes, ma'am.
Is it going to be historic art or historical village? Or what is the proper terminology?
I'll let Dr. Rice answer that.
We do anticipate adding one and perhaps two or more historic structures also, so we'll want to keep those in mind. And there's plenty of room to do that.
If there's nothing further, we will close this workshop. Thank you guys so very